everybody. I've been watching these elections coming on, and I've been seeing all of the candidates here. You got Donald Trump, you got Hillary Clinton, and you got Bernie Sanders. So, I don't know about the rest of you, but I've been waiting for the real candidates to finally step forward, and not a single one of them's gonna. So I'm gonna go on a little political rant here and kind of analyze what I see for the United States. Alright, so you got Bernie Sanders. Great man. He's got his plans. He's got his things that he wants to do. But basically, none of them are realistic. They're all overly optimistic, and you would probably end up in either a communist or a bankrupt state as a country. Then you got Hillary Clinton, who's being looked at for multiple crimes. And she's being investigated by the FBI. Also, most of the population just generally doesn't like her as a person. Then you got Donald Trump. Now, Mr. Trump is a maverick here. Mr. Trump has his plans. We're going to build a wall. We're going to make America great again. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, so here's what I'm looking at for Donald's plan. And Hillary and Bernie just don't have a chance in my book. I can't say anything else about that. But Donald Trump wants to build his wall. Alright, so he's estimating that that'll cost $12 billion. Other experts are saying that that'll estimate at about $25 billion. So it is doable. That wall can be built. Him thinking that the Mexican government is going to pay for that is absolutely ridiculous. They're not going to agree to that. And Western Union, I don't think, will cover it either. So, he wants to deport 10 million illegal immigrants. He wants to block the Syrian refugees from coming in. He's stated in the past that he thinks that women should be incarcerated for having abortions, etc., etc. The man is probably one of the more likely candidates, but he's still a bad candidate. So here's how I would make America great again. For starters, first day in office, Congress needs to be drug tested. They're federal employees. They should have the same responsibilities as a federal employee like myself does to pass a drug screen or be impeached and removed from power for such a case. Next thing you should do, in the United States we have an estimated between 5 and 7 million incarcerated persons. Now, a lot of these incarcerated persons are in for petty crimes. In a 2010 census, the United States had 5.85 million people who were ineligible for voting due to having a prior felony conviction. I believe that after 7 years, similar to a bankruptcy, a felony should be up for a review board. And minor felonies should be excused and the felony fall off the person's record. This would enable 5.85 million people to again vote. It would also give them the ability to run for offices and or become lawyers, doctors, general contractors, roofers, or maintain any license that is now limited to them as convicted felons. Furthermore, it would give the people of the United States who are convicted felons an excuse to not go on to continue more crimes. Because let's face it, when you have to walk up to somebody and say, "Hi, I'm a convicted felon, I was convicted for trafficking marijuana," who the hell wants to hire you? Next thing I think you should do is I think that instead of building a $12 to $25 billion wall, you should flat rate the people who are here to stay here. So, let's use an easy number. Let's say that you have Donald Trump's 10 million Mexican immigrants who are staying here illegally. Now, all of these people now have to worry about being deported should immigration ever catch up with them. I say you offer them amnesty. Now, hear me out on this one, because I know this is not a popular subject. Offer them amnesty, but there's a condition. In order to get your amnesty, you have to prove employment, and you have to dedicate a portion of your salary to the U.S. government the IRS, until such a time as you have come up with, let's say, $10,000. Now, guessing that an incentive for people to want to stay in the United States, want to become full citizens, and do so easily, I would say that out of 10 million, minimum 5 million would pay that. But let's say that 10 million people did pay $10,000. Instead of digressing with the economy by $12 to $25 billion, you have now just created $100 billion worth of new revenue for the government, which could be used towards, I don't know, employment, real estate, medical care, education, or any other number of projects. Now, that's one of the first ones there. So the next thing you should do is I would legalize gambling and prostitution, and then I would decriminalize all drugs, and not only decriminalize them, I would make them available from pharmacies. I would make them manufactured by pharmaceutical companies who were facing strict regulations on the products that they could apply to the drugs. Why would I do this? Let's start with prostitution. Okay, prostitution is legal in quite a bit of the world. But in quite a bit of the world, prostitution is moderated. Prostitution is moderated. They're given drugs, or they're given drug screens as well as health screenings. And a lot of people do tourism to try and get that. For example, the Moonlight Bunny Ranch in Las Vegas, I believe, Nevada. Their workers are generating probably right around $250,000 a year as prostitutes. Now, those women are taxable. They're working legally. They are subject to taxes and the IRS and their state and local governments to mandate that they obey their regulations. Were you to implement this in the entire United States, you would generate a giant influx in tourism from both wealthier Asian countries as well as European, Australian, and other places around the world. Furthermore, by making this legal, you would make real legitimate businesses, which in turn would not have any qualms about trying to put their competition under. The underground guys, the people who are involved in human trafficking and child sex slavery, would then be ratted out by other pimps and other clubs so that they would lose their business, get arrested, and go to jail. I think this would cut down drastically on human trafficking and child sex slavery. Next thing, Portugal decriminalized drugs and instantly had an 80% drop in crime that same year. By implementing strict regulations on the sale and production of drugs, I believe that, well, your hardcore junkies are still going to go out and get their drugs, but now they're going to get drugs that won't destroy your brain and kill you immediately. They'll also have warning labels on them. They'll also be taxable revenue, and they'll also be enough money that instead of sending somebody to jail where they can, be harmed and learn crimes and have no hope for the future, you can use some of the money from selling these drugs to implement programs and put them in place for people to gain free recovery. Next thing, gambling. Gambling makes a ton of money. It's the entire Las Vegas, Nevada economy. It's a lot of countries all over the world's entire economy. By allowing gambling, you're just spreading it out from the Indian reservations and the random places where it's allowed and making it legal as a whole. So, I'm seeing the Make America Great Again just being done absolutely incorrectly. The only way to really do that is to generate money and stop fucking spending it on stupid shit. You can offer all of these people some way to do something. Instead, the American government has stripped people of their rights, taken away their potential to do anything, and not only that, in the case of the felons, they can't vote, they can't get a job, they can't do anything because they're a felon. There's absolutely no incentive to succeed in the United States, especially with these government programs that are inspiring you to sit at home and do nothing. WIC, welfare, shit. You're just generating jobs if you can do all this. Oh, and another thing. Tax the hell out of U.S. imports. We're getting all this shit from China. It is more economically responsible for the companies that are making all this money to go overseas to China, hire a sweatshop, and then import the stuff back here. But it wouldn't be if you tax the hell out of it. Make America great again by bringing jobs, bringing industry, and bringing people who are there to succeed back to the United States. Sorry for the rant, y'all. I'm just going nuts listening to these idiots. Later.